This
Kailas
conference
has
will
already
now be
introduced.
recorded.
Okay, so as Professor Kailas introduced me, I'm going to talk about mainly on the additive manufacturing, which is mainly used for fabrication of the functionally graded material plate. The functionally graded material structures, as we know that this is the advanced class of materials mainly used for the smart actuations and smart sensing part. So even for that, we can enhance a common plate characteristics, or we can say we can characterize those things as per our desired feature. So if we say, if we want to add some kind of rigid feature, if we want to add some kind of harder feature or stiffen, we can do straight away by adding in a particular functioning feature. So what I mean to say, the functioning, that here we have, if you look at this, this is functionally graded matter. So it's not randomly that you can simply go to metals or some kind of polymers or some kind of, you can say, ceramics, anything. Here we can fabricate in a particular manner using some specified function, and that function is using the entire space as a gradient. So that's why we are saying it is a graded feature. So, and then the additive manufacturing. If we are looking from the additive manufacturing aspect, we all know that the additive manufacturing is simply providing a solid free form of manufacturing that simply direct us that we can simply go for fabrication from fine detailed bespoke component to any accurate place of material within the set position, okay, of any design domain. So that's one of the important part there in we can say additive manufacturing technology, which is simply expanded from one of the prototype feature to any full scale end users part. So that's why you see here, when we are going into that particular technical details of this, we need to simply added two part, and we are generally saying it is the functionally graded additive manufacturing, FGAM. And in that, we are simply using layer by layer fabrication techniques. And as I mentioned earlier, that it clearly involves, since the name itself speaks about the plate characterization is a functionally graded. So in that layer by layer fabrication technique, it mainly involves the gradational varying of material organization along with the transverse or the longitudinal direction, whatever it is. Generally, we are going for in the transverse direction, where we are simply looking at how the material composition could be graded with any kind of, we can say, power law, sigmoid law, any this like various kind of laws are there, which we are generally using for the upgradation of the material characterization. So this is where we people are mainly going. So if you look at that, some of the part is hiding by this. I don't know how to manage the screen, but functionally graded this manufacturing. If you look at from that, in this, as I mentioned, it is a layer by layer fabrication. This is where what it is, that it is mainly including that we are going from the one layer to other layer, so that we can have effective control about the grade, this material characterization variation. Say at one end, I just want to provide some kind of stiffer feature. The second part you see here, I just want to go for the other side, where I may have some kind of, we can say, the damping material where not a stiffen feature is required, where I just want harder one. So I can choose metallic surface one side, I can choose, we can say, the ceramic surface on other side. And then and it is not like that you see on one side we can simply paste something. Then I need to fabricate in such a way using this layer by layer technique, that this gradation, where you see this somewhere at the one end 100% metal is there, on other end 100% ceramic is there, then how the reduction of the composition of that material, again this composition is a heterogeneous composition, and when we are combining two, even we can add more material through a gradual transition. So that's where the things are there, that how the the particular composition could be integrated to provide, you see here, the kind of organization. So here we have, you see here, the material you can say the grading organization, and we can simply achieve whatever our desired or intended function is. So that's why you see here FGAM, functionally graded additive manufacturing. It simply establishes a radical shift from a contour modeling to performance modeling. That's where the things are. It's not about you see the things where you see you can simply go for a simple, we can say like alloy or like composite, where simple kind of contour modeling is good enough. But here now we are going to direct our main fabrication process and the entire composition based on the performance modeling. So that's why you see here, since it is mainly the performance driven, functionality is there. So accordingly, we are choosing appropriate metals, or we can say ceramics, or any kind of material, the polymer, and then we can even reinforce the nanoparticles or nanotubes to achieve some kind of the characteristics which we want. So this is, like one of the specific thing which is mainly, like nowadays we people are generally using for that. And since we have, you see, you might have like experienced lots of techniques there in the 3D printing or additive manufacturing. So I don't have to establish those, but here this is a very specific kind of application where the smart structures are mainly being fabricating using this additive manufacturing. And since FGAM is mainly the material-centric fabrication process, please remember here that here our main target is the material, that how the material-centric fabrication could be adopted. Because in that, as I mentioned, that it is, like this is shifting from the contour, this contour modeling to performance modeling. So that's why you see here we can simply use the advancement of this additive manufacturing technology through which we can simply frame some kind of strategically control on the density and the directionality. Please remember the two main things is that the density and the directionality. So that can be effectively controlled of material composition in any 3D distribution. So that's where you see here, like our main part is to look at that how we can control. You see, look at that. You see, so both can be easily controlled there itself, and then accordingly we are moving towards that. So it could be a single material FGAM where the homogeneous composition which we want, and then you see here we can simply go for different kind of fabrication process, or else even we can go for the multi-material FGAM. And in the multi-material, you see here, generally we are trying to segregate, as I mentioned already, that you see here through various processes, that how the properties can be, like integrated, and those various mechanical properties which we are even looking from those side, not only about the material composition, but material properties like conductivity, like elastic modulus, like like various things. And then also we need to look at that there should not be any kind of defects of porosity or the kind of crack or any kind of disorderness about the layers. So even it is a homogeneous or heterogeneous mixture of material, we have to be very clear about the properties, material properties graded according to whatever the laws which we are using. So then you see here, we cannot compromise about its intrinsic property to achieve a desirable properties of those components. This is very important there. So generally, this is what actually, like the kind of motivation behind this, and then accordingly we can simply go. So all in all, if we are talking about that, then we have, you see here, like the alloys. Alloys are pretty common. You see here that we are generally going for like a mixing of two or more metal or non-metal in a molten state, like a molten state, and then accordingly we can have that. The composite, on the other hand, in that it's not about purely restricting to the metal. We can go any class of advanced material consisting of one or more material in the solid state. So generally we are going for that. This is what you see the things are. And accordingly, you see here when we are going towards our main part, that is the functionally graded material. In this, you see here we have the class of advanced material, which is in which you see the varying properties are there in the dimension, which is our main target. That whether we just want in the one directional, longitudinal, transverse, or lateral, or second, even we can go for the bidirectional as well. So nowadays people are mainly working about the bidirectional property variation, material property variation according to the combination of that. So that's where you see the constraint conditions in that I just want to see that this is what like my plate is, and I just want in this plate that like the material gradation is there not only in the transverse direction but also in the longitudinal direction. So I need to see that how this property variation is mainly being there with reference to, we can say, Young's modulus with reference to any part. You see here in that transverse direction or longitudinal direction according to, we can say, the power or any sigmoid or any kind of law, linear non-linear feature variation in the space domain. Then this is usually like achieved by forming two component whose volume fraction is changed in the certain direction. So either we can go with the volume or we can go with the mass feature, the density feature, and then accordingly we can choose. So generally our main feature is there on the volume, and accordingly we can choose. So here it is. If you look at that, this is what the microstructure. And in this microstructure, if you look at, you'll find that what we have, you see here, the like all these molecules, they are being arranged in a particular pattern. Now, when we are going about the alloys, then these alloys are mainly there in like two or more metals or anything the non-metals in the molten state. So they are absolutely having whatever their minimum potential energy, and they are all stable there in that form. So generally we can go with that. Now when we are going towards the composite, then as it is mentioned clearly that we have more than one material to be integrated in that way. So we have, you see, the fiber, which is to be reinforced to any base material called matrix, and then we have, you see, the composite. So this is a common formation of composite, and there are various fabrication techniques along with the additive manufacturing which could be used to fabricate that. When we are going to this form, which is mainly about to see the functionally graded material, then you can see there are two phases. One phase, phase A, if I am talking about. So on top of that, though it is hidden right now, but on top of that, we have a clear phase matrix B particles and phase A with matrix. While on other side, you see here that we have phase A particle, which is of one kind of concentration. Phase B matrix is almost covering the entire region. So here and here, if you look at, you see the composition, then both phase A and phase B matrix and particles are mainly being arranged, and this transition zone is mainly defining that how you see the gradation features are mainly there along with this particular Z direction called the transverse direction. So this is about to see the functionally graded material. We can choose phase A particle, phase B matrix as per the desired property which we want to integrate into that particular component. So this is one. Fairly, you see, though this is very clear that you see here, if we are basically looking for alloys or composite or functionally graded material, we are even saying functionally graded materials are basically the smart materials in which we can add the properties like of material in towards the inherent character of its fabrication feature. So this is what the main part you see here, which we are generally using. So if you are going for FGM, then like somewhere it started from 1984-85, where you see the main part was there on the this bones and teeth, the natural one. Because we know that like our bones, the hand, you see, like on that part, on one hand we are pushing something. When we are pushing something, so certainly we are applying the load on an object, but at the same time, as per the Newton's third law, some kind of the load which is basically being like revert back. So if the same, our bones are working on the same way, then certainly it may damage our shoulder joint. But there is a inherent property called, you see, on one end, it is mainly imposing some kind of impact or some kind of impulsive load, but on other hand, on the shoulder part, it is basically dissipating, act as a damper part. So this is what the things are that like when we are going towards to see the like the graded porosity feature, and then we are looking from both the angle of any our like our bones, then we will find that how the porosity and the dense features are arranged in such a way that whatever the extra excessive impulsive actions are coming, that kind of excitation energy can be easily handled by that. So this is one of the beautiful things, even in the teeth particular, when we are talking about the teeth are now on one side. They have one of the tougher part. They can simply cut any kind of way. When we are chewing something, you see here, we can simply shear that. But if you can imagine that the same kind of shearing action, if it is happening on the bottom of our teeth where the root is there, then certainly you see here the entire jaw is almost fractured. But they are providing as a damper, they are giving a cushion, so that even if like some impact is there, some kind of, you can say the extra excessive load is coming, then that can be compensated, that can be absorbed then and there itself. So this is one of the beautiful things you see here there in the functionally graded material, which is there inbuilt in the human body, and which is mainly based on the gradient feature. It is not that you see you have only at the two extreme end you can get the property. No, that is not feasible. There is basically, like it is a gradient with fraction feature of mass or volume towards the orientation, and then accordingly we can simply go by any kind of material gradation law. So when we are going, like you see the types of FGM, as I mentioned, there is a gradient feature. Now with the fraction you can see that we have, you see the fraction with the size, with the orientation, with the shape, you see here anything, any types of, you see the configurational feature could be adopted, and then we can choose the material gradation part. So this is like where we people are generally looking at what exactly the kind of qualities could be imparted towards the material, and then we can get some output from that specific kind of functionally graded material. This is one. So when we are going towards that, then you see here we are simply going for the application part. Then it has, you see, it is allowing us a customization and tailoring of material for any specific task. This is very important part to see, in that. So let's take, you see, the one example in this. You can see the stiffer at the clamp end and the softer at another end. If we just want to transfer the main excitation pattern to have a better sensitivity. Remember, nowadays we are mainly working on the sensor. So if the sensor has its own character to absorb some kind of excitation, then certainly there is a loss. But if you want that, you see, the sensor should be stiffened enough that it immediately will transfer whatever the excitation attains by that particular interfacing of the sensor to an object. Then we are going with this kind of part. You can see this is how the same material but having different excitation pattern. While if we are going that now, we need to now dissipate some amount of excitation energy, like you see when we are just going into any foundation of an object, like we can say bus, aeroplane, like that, and if it is excited by any kind of, we can say, interfacing of feet to that particular structure, then certainly you see the things are not good. So for that particular way, we are mainly going to apply, you see, the softer side to absorb some amount of energy, to dissipate the energy, or to retain that energy. So when we are going for that, we can simply go in that, and you can see that no excitation feature is being there within that. Immediately, whatever the interfacing of that object is coming from the outside surroundings, it can be easily handled by that. And then you see here, this is the material gradation. So in this gradation now, you see a normal structure and both direction. So sometimes now you might have heard that we have, you see, the charging facility from those part. When you are going, there is some kind of deformation, the piezo patches are being added there. So any kind of mechanical deformation could be converted into the voltage, and that is mainly generation of some kind of electricity. So this is where you see here, for such kind of application where we just want to grade that part using gradation feature of functionally graded, we can even do that kind of thing. So this is where you see the kind of, the more variety could be added as per our requirement. This is the beauty of functionally graded material. Like you see, one of the example is there in the, we can say atomic power plant, where you see inside the, we can say this unit, we have maximum temperature. Outside, you see here, if the temperature is transmitted through the surface of that particular, we can say cell, then it may, you see, create a huge amount of, we can say, the energy outside, and nobody can even work towards that. We can add, along with this thickness of that shell, by adding some ceramic material along with the metallic to control the temperature gradient along the thickness direction. So this is lots of applications are there, and that can be added towards that. So when we are going towards that, you see here, like we can simply go either on a compositional or microstructural grading. So obviously, see, like when we are working on that, we just want to have effective control about the upgradation. So when we are going about precisely that along with this particular layer, there should be the all these particular particles are arranged in that way, and we are generally going for a microstructural feature that at all these layers. This is what you see the volumetric composition there. So that's why we are generally saying that we have a transition function, which is mainly establishing the relation between the layers, because layer by layer fabrication is there. So either we can say we can simply go from ceramic to metal, metal to metal to, we can say, polymer to ceramic, whatever the composition which we want, we can easily use that. So this is what you see, the two main features are there. We can simply go for the continuous, where we have, you see, the ceramic phase and metallic phase. The composition, you can see that what exactly the concentration features are there of these two at these two extreme, and then you see here we have an upgradation. So this transition zone is mainly directed by a law. So generally we are using various laws, and then accordingly we can simply go with that. So like either we are going for step by step process, the layered, or we can go the continuous process. We can simply use that. Lots of examples are there, like from ceramic to material. We have, you see here, TIC with the nickel. So we have like the titanium carbide, and then we are generally using like for a different kind of application where we just want a toughened part. So toughness should be must at one end, and on the other hand, you see here some kind of material stiffness features are. We can go with metal to metal, we can go with metal to polymer, whatever it is. As I mentioned, various things that you see here that can be there in this part, and that can be added. So FGM, as I mentioned, that either we can go for the property upgradation towards, you see, the transverse direction, either by exponential model, linear model, power law, reciprocal model, anything. And this is where you see that along with the height and the Z direction, what is the relation? Is how you see, like from like 20% to 40% to 60% to 80% to the entire region, how the variations are there along with that part. So this is the beautiful thing that you see, we are controlling the elastic properties of the material composition along with the segmental part, and these segments are controlled by various laws. These are just like one kind of, but even that can be added to many others like that. So like this is something which, and then lots of applications are there. So that is something which one could be easily like get as per the application what kind of property enhancement which we want in the material. We can choose the composition of material, even the nanoparticles, even the carbon nano, boron nano particles, tubes, whatever it is, you see, that can be even reinforced towards that, and that can be by adding of that, the material properties can be enhanced by this. So this is one part of this presentation in which functionally graded additive manufacturing feature was there. So when we are talking about the additive manufacturing, generally the first thing comes that it is basically a 3D like part. So generally when we are saying that if it is there, it refers to the digital 3D design data, which used to build up a component in layers. So that's why you see here, this has a great application, especially with reference to the functionally graded, because we just want to enhance the function, as I mentioned previously, by power law, sigmoid law, linear, or any kind of law you see here, the reciprocal, exponential features. So when we are now using that, this is the manufacturing techniques provide precisely that how we can effectively control those layers in their fabrication process, and how the deposition of material along the layer can be controlled and that can be upgraded. So like when we are going towards that, then this is what you see, the kind of process which we are generally using here for that. So this table is indicating that how like this process is mainly being used there. So if you look at the first step says that we need to design and modeling that. So in the first step, when we are going for that, which process? First process says that we need to go for product concept generation. That which product in the this part particular, we need to define the geometry, because the geometry simply facilitates us that what exactly the kind of application is there with respect to the degrees of freedom, the kind of interfacing towards the outside boundary, so that what the force or the moment, or we can say velocity, acceleration, anything which is being coming towards that. This is one. Second, you see, like when we are using that, the product concept, then how we can model that. So when we are trying to model this, now in the modeling, sometimes if it is, you see, a simple geometry, then there is no problem. The problem comes only when we have a complicated geometry. So that's why we see here the CAD model. The CAD model provides us that what kind of, like you see, you might have heard about the various curves, the Bezier curves, the B-splines curves, the basic splines, the B-splines means the basic splines curves, which has, you see, the nonlinear surfaces along with the non-uniform variation of the surface, the cubic one and all. So when we are now trying to fabricate those things, that's not an easy task to fabricate. Like you see the turbine blade. The turbine blade has, you see, the different cross-sectional variation in all two directions, along with the length and along with the lateral feature. So both longitudinal and lateral features are varying. Then we need to go with that. So that's where you see here we need to optimize with the and using the topology method. So that's where when we are using this the first concept is the design and the modeling feature, so that the entire geometry could be configured along with that what exactly the surfaces are. And since once you define the surface, then only you can say that this is what you see the material is basically like distributed along, we can say, the transverse or the longitudinal direction. So another feature, obviously, once the geometry, and you see the geometry means the modeling, geometric modeling and its variation along these directions, once you fix that, because that's where you see the transformation is there, then we can simply go for the material description, because then the material distribution, uniform, non-uniform, non-linear, linear, curvilinear, anything, whatever you see your structure is supporting, then this material description could be easily defined. So in that, you see here, as per the material selection and the microstructure allocation is mainly defined as per what exactly the kind of surfaces are and the kind of property enhancement which we are looking for. So, and then distribution, as we already discussed, in this only we need to fix that the gradient classification. Because if you are not able to define that, then it is creating the residual stresses at certain location, which will add the stress concentration, which will add, we can say, a fracture features there. So the fracture toughness, and then laterally finally you see here, it will enhance to the bigger load part towards that. So that's where you see here, when we are going towards this, starting from any kind of, we can say, like the void or the, or we can say any kind of porosity features, we need to look at carefully from that. And then finally, once we define the geometry and the material description, this is what you see, the product description is there, where both the geometry and material is mainly being combined. But you look at that, the mathematical data. This mathematical data is mainly giving us that whatever the manufacturing strategy or the planning which we are adopting, is it feasible to go with that? Because you see, sometimes we are saying it's a cubic spline. Sometimes we are saying no, it is like the higher degree polynomial variation. So for such things, probably we can simply go like that, how precisely we can manufacture this, and we can use that kind of thing. So within, you see here, the second part, where the material description, the product description, and manufacturing description, they are clearly being defined, that how we can choose those mathematical data, because mathematical data are not giving about the discrete variation of the property, but also they are clearly indicating about the uncertainty during the manufacturing process. So then we need to control, because somewhere we require effective control on each and every layer of the process. And if you are not able to do that, then certainly you see here there is some kind of, like I think probably might have done, like in your 10 this our BTech part, that we may have, you see here in the lattice structure, crystal lattice structure, there are, you see here, different planes and the surface disorientations are. And this is very, like common there in that. So either we are talking about the slicing orientation or any kind of complex slicing. When we are trying to do that, we need to go first to a mathematical descriptional feature of that. We need to control according to that. What are the parameters which are predominantly excite and create some kind of disorientation. So in the step 3, basically in the additive manufacturing, then you see here we are going about the manufacturing strategy. Then we are going for the numeric control, like this, the path classification, that what is the path and the process monitoring. And finally, you see here, if we find any kind of distortion, then we are mainly going for a different type of treatment, surface treatment, heat treatment, or any kind of machining part. So this is a very common like feature which we are generally using, and once we do that, finally we can go for the quality assurance and the validation, just to have and in that we need to see that how you see the stress concentrational features are there, the microscopic feature, using microscopic imaging we can see that these are some of the critical area where we may have, you see, the different kind of features. So this is what you see, some limitations are there for describing these materials, especially when we are using, you see, some kind of geometry information, some kind of material, the optimum material distribution features and all that part. So guys, this is the kind of process which is adopting, and right from, you can see an example that this design and modeling feature, which like in the step 1, where we are trying to describe, you see, right from the product concept feature to the CAD modeling adopted, and then towards optimization and topology, we can get that. Once we are doing this modeling, then we can go for in the second, the 3 main description was there. 1, the material description, the product description, and the manufacturing description. All in all, basically we can straightly choose the material selection, the microstructural, we can say the kind of allocation. We can even choose, you see, the optimum material properties particular towards that, the gradation classification, all that part you see here in this particular material. Even we can simply classify appropriately the geometry and material interfacing from the mathematical data you see in the product description and manufacturing description as well, you see here, using a different kind of, we can say, the slice or the build orientation. Once we do that, then we are basically in the additive manufacturing, right from the strategy to we can say process plan to path or to NC programming, whatever you can say. Accordingly, we can simply go in this way. And then the post-processing and final product. So in the post-processing, as I mentioned, you see the part removal, the heat and the pressure treatment, any kind of machine surface treatment, whatever you see here, the things which are there. Final product is mainly looking from the quality and from their validation in terms of the stress, in terms of the strength, and in terms of, you see, using the like the entity techniques, probably that can be done. So this is one particular process of the kind of like the manufacturing methodology which is mainly adopted for the functionally graded additive manufacturing. One example is this. It's a beautiful example you see here, that we have a simple part of this, and in this particular the representation of this, now we have smooth surfaces on that, the metallic surfaces which are absolutely highlighting a sharp one in this. And when we are looking from the surface part, if we look at the cavity to this, then by simply looking from that, that cannot be straightway achieve this. That means somewhere we need to adopt a process there. So in the additive manufacturing process, the first, as I mentioned previously, that we have, you see, the CAD model there, you see, in that. So in that, the first part was design and modeling. So we have, you see, the design and modeling, the product concept generation, and then the CAD part, it is this. Then we have, you see, the another part. This is very important part there, you see here, where we are trying to convert this part into our CAD, as we are mentioning, using the STL. This is the standard triangular language which simply stored or store the information about the 3D model. And then we are trying to see, look at that, you see, like the process where we simply see that during this particular entire featuring of this material description, or we can say the product description or manufacturing description, these three are mainly, we can say adding towards that, and then accordingly we can simply see that how the final the product where using the additive manufacturing could be achieved that. So when we are using, and then the fourth process, post processing, and then we discussed about the final product, these are all there of that point. But before that, this is what the main, we can say, simple process, right from 1 to 8 we are adopting to see the feasibility and we can say the adaptability of that particular process there. So the various things could be easily seen with reference to its surface and the layer by layer feature, like this one you see here. Here we have a model, the CAD model is there. Now this CAD model is simply converting into, as I mentioned, the STL, that is the standard triangle language feature. When we are now doing that, generally people have done various about the nerves they have used the Bezier curves, they have used a finite element, simple. But here we can simply describe the surface which is to be built using the STL of the triangles, because in the STL we have, you see, the standard triangle feature. So that is what the things are. You can see this. So any linear, non-linear surface could be easily described by these triangles as 3 points and a facet normal vector. We simply indicated the outward feature of triangle in that similar manner of that. So simply do the programming about that, in which we can simply feed the kind of that where the vertex are there, what are the end face points are there, the initial face points are there, the 3 triangle nodal points are there, and accordingly we can simply generate that. So in this, you see here, we can simply go by the layer by layer thickness. So when we are going towards that, you can see now this is what one manufacturing feature we have seen one layer, and these are multiple layers of that. So we can see that what are the effects of building these building features using different layer thickness particular. So this is a very important part there you see here in this our processing, that how we can go towards that. So when we are going into that, please remember one of the important part is this. That we are mainly going from layer to layer feature, in that all the discretizable features are there using the triangles, the standard triangle language, and then each triangle is mainly described into 3 points and a facet normal vector. So there is, you see, and then when we are using this, we can simply go for a computer aided engineering, the CAE, in which the 3D the CAD model, and we can apply some of, you see, the kind of packages to have a appropriate interfacing of the environment. So when we are going into that, generally you see these are some of the advantages which you can see. It provides, you see, a simple we can say method of representing 3D CAD data. Then it has a de facto standard and use most we can say the CAD system for appropriate representation of this. And then even you see here, some of the problems are that these STL files are quite large to handle. And then if any flaws are there in the geometry which is earlier designed, then they are creating the problem during, you see, conversion in the STL, because these triangular points are not appropriately mapped and interfaced. So, and then consequently, you see, we have, you see, the slicing features there in that. So, obviously, you see all these parts which have, you see, some kind of, we can say, the plus point or minus point, accordingly, we can choose this. Various, the methods in which we are generally using. First of all, the difference is that what are the techniques which we are using for creating these layers, as the layer by layer features are there. Then once we are framing the layer, even in the functionally graded part, we know that at each layer we have a different mechanical properties. So once we do that, then how these bonding features are, because they are exhibiting different mechanical properties along with different direction. So these two are very important, especially from our mechanical properties are concerned. Then another important is the speed. That what exactly is the speed where we can create the layers in this particular direction and then we can bind that. Then further you see the layer thickness, the range of material because they have all different properties. This is very important about the accuracy and the precision. Accuracy and precision both are very important, especially in terms of the surface, in terms of their dimensional variability. Because it is very sensitive, properties are very sensitive from that particular aspect. The cost is another way because we know that we are basically targeting each and every aspect of that where all the property variations are there from the microstructural feature to layer to from microstructural feature to layer and from layer to all the combination of layers. So that's why you see here there are the various features in that. In this like the additive manufacturing application timeline, if you look at, they are starting from rapid prototype and now we are almost there. Right from in between the lots of, you can see that you'll find that these were like the buzzwords or the boom was there right from rapid casting, rapid tooling, and then you see here they started from some of the engine part where high temperature gradients were there, so they started from this part. And then there you see here like they applied to, because the severe conditions in terms of, we can say the forces in terms of temperature, whatever you see here, they started from that. And now we are somewhere you see here in this case where we just want to go for all kinds of, whether it is the body organs, whether it is a normal engine operations, we are mainly going and we are trying to fabricate using this 3D printing. And this way you might have heard in that particular era where we are right now, we have used like this 3D printing for everything, and people were using this 3D printing for the surface, this face particular, the face mask, or everything, the mask, and lots of things were there you see here with that. So this is right from the medical implants to aerospace to anything where we people are now, and we are basically targeting in the 2030 about the organs, so that we can replace those organs. Like the stents are there, you might have heard about various, we can say the joints are there. So many things could be achieved using that particular way. So this is where you see the things are. So when we are now going into this, there are pros and cons for everything. So when we are adding the pros, there are freedom to design, innovate the penalties without any penalty, sorry. So what I mean to say that whatever the kind of features which we want to add, we have total freedom to add that. But there are constraints. The constraints are simply coming that how we can control layer by layer and using the pre and post processing requirement, because the processing speed is one of the important part there. This is one. And then another important part is the material, because here we can say we just want to innovate without penalties. So how the inconsistent material features are, because it's a heterogeneous part, how we can make in a proper way, how we can control that. This is one. Second, the rapid iteration through the design permutation. So we can even change anytime, because it's an iterative process, we can change and we can go even for many of these, we can say the processes by changing the design parameter, by changing geometry, by changing material part, or even by changing the speed of that. So all, if you look at that, you will find that they have their own the key factors, and accordingly we can choose. The only cause part, this part you see here, is high processing cost, some unexpected pre and post processing, which one cannot anticipate because of the microstructural combination create some kind of voids or porosity or some kind of defects. Then it requires lots of treatment process through temperature, through machining, through various things you see. Then the limited number of material which are basically compatible towards the manufacturing side. It is not that once you simply want to design, you can add any material. That's not feasible. So somewhere you see here we need to go and see that how we can go towards the beneficial side. One of the best benefit of this is the additive manufacturing is the weight reduction. We can choose appropriate material and that can be fabricated in any kind of surface, linear, non-linear, uniform, non-uniform surface structure. and we can simply optimize the design using some kind of specific material for appropriate strength or appropriate, we can say, whatever the desired properties are. So this is one of the important thing. Second, so first, when we are going towards that, the weight reduction is some first part. Second, in this additive manufacturing benefit is it is basically free from complexities, because in this, since we are using a different kind of the cubic surface, or we can have, you see, the spline features or any kind of, you see, like the surface CAD model, and then according to we can save using STL format of all information of the 3D part, we can simply go for any complexity of the surfaces, and that can be configured easily. So this is also one of the important part you see in this. And finally, even if you just want to go for like the implants, you see the bio implants, and you just want to see the compatibility, that can also be added towards that. So there is a like a future for various, we can say, even our own not only from human part, but also for, you see here, the home manufacturing, right from, we can say, various the 3D printer, home 3D printer, which is there, even the toothbrush is there, various things are there that can be easily changed towards that, because the various we can say the design which requires some kind of complexity, that can be easily attained and that can be easily applied towards that, because it is mainly concepting from physical part to prototype part. In between, the CAD model is there. So building CAD model is one of important feature there in that part. So when we are now, when we are going into that, you can see what we have now. There is general integration feature that we have actuation, means the mechanical output, the sensing, in which you see the mechanical input is going into the part. So here, when we are now using this, these are the few common points which are requiring to have effective control right from environment. So we can have, you see here, an appropriate sensor to see, check, you see that what exactly the temperature, the humidity, and the kind of air in the atmosphere or atmospheric pressure, whatever you can say in that. Second, you see here, when we are going there, interlayer controls are there. So that's what we are generally doing this part. Then we have, you see, like towards, you see, like we can say the direction particular in the Z direction particular, we can have that at these layers part, what is the layer thickness and how they are being framing out. So like this is the junction process controller, which controls all these, not only the operating parameters, but also the processing parameters for fabrication. In this, it is mainly being interfaced by various key components, right from slicing system, the process setup, the process monitor, and that. So somewhere you see here, this is the mathematical data which is interfaced to have that. If we are going by these sequential features along with the time and space domain variation, we can get, you see, appropriate control on all these parts. So guys, this is something which is very important, especially when we are trying to integrate various things towards that. And this is specifically defines based on what exactly the kind of materials which we are using. If we are going for polymers, metals, ceramics, composite, anything you see here, we can easily adopt it that. And in the polymers, even we can use, because the polymers are of various kind, right from cellulose, we can say, we can say the polycarbonate, polyethylene, we can say propylene, ABS polymer, various, you see, polyurethane. We can use any kind of polymers, and that can be easily used there towards that. So this is one thing you see in this part where people are generally going, and in this layered part, you see here the data, you see the data transfer here, the transfer here, because we just want to have effective control on all these part. We are simply using towards that. So in this layer manufacturing process, for each layer, we can go with powder metallurgy, the liquid materials and the solid materials, and we can simply use the various material features towards that, you see here, for having appropriate, the material properties, and we can simply have. So these are all the processes which we are generally using for having, you see, the layer by layer manufacturing features. This is now, you see, one thing which simply defines, you see, that we have, the structure, the hierarchical structure, you can see that, and it simply indicates that how you see the gradients are there in the bone, which are simply indicating that there are some non-uniform variation in that. So if you look at that, right from basic material to a combination of that, and from there you see here, we are mainly going towards that how these are mainly like we can say the fabrication feature of the this mineral to collagen and phosphate to carbonate part. When we are using that, how we can simply see that there is a gradient of increasing density in the radial direction like of the bone. This is, you see, we are absolutely going towards the bone side. So when we are going for a spongy bone and a compact bone, we can simply see that how the total descriptional features are there right from the basic, we can say, the collagen molecule to their addition in the triple helix model, and then it is mainly having a full density feature, and then it is mainly propagated. So this is one of the critical process which is simply giving us a structure of a particular type of, we can say, C cell, or type of, we can say, the bones feature having different orientation. And that's why, you know, like we know that the bones in which there are, you see, the spongy and there are the compact structure, they have, you see, this kind of feature. That somewhere we just want to have appropriate damping, somewhere we just need to have a kind of toughness or the harder feature that can be provided by that. This is one of the beautiful description. That's why you see, you know, like adopted from that, that it is clearly defining that how the things are mainly changing its orientation as per the requirement of a human body towards that. So this is where you see, you know, like using the optical microscopy, that can be easily seen like that how, you know, like this particular structure in this type of C cell is mainly being varying, and then it has basically both from the tubercle express, from, you see, we can say the exterior compact feature that can be easily shown at both the spongy and the compact bone part. And then you see here, you know, like when we are going towards that, then, you know, like in this particular layers, there are, you see, the uniform and non-uniform layers features are there. So we can even show that what exactly the distribution of those matters which are having a slicing feature. So this microstructure, even at the, we can say in the nano level, they are clearly giving that how, you see, the orientation of these, you know, like the structures are mainly being, or in like having a layer by layer, and they are making a perfect parallel layers like that. So if you change the orientation in the C, you can see that they have their parallel, we can say, layers in between equicohesive features, so that they can be binded appropriately. Because framing layers is okay, uniform distribution of those, we can say, you know, like the organic matters which are mainly requiring, this is another of greens you can see, and then their bonding is one of the key issue there itself. And that's why you see here, as we are growing with the age, these features are in like degrading, and the all that part you see here, whatever the deposition features are there, they started creating some kind of more stiffer features toward that. So this feature, the spongy feature, is losing its main character, which are mainly, you know, like confining through that. So this is one of, you know, like we can say the optical microscopy images were there, in which there are lots of, you know, like in the nature, they are indicating that how the bones, which has, you see, all the kind of, we can say, the functionally graded hierarchical structures are there, which can be easily, we can say, the constituted and represented by this. So this is something which is really important towards that. So using this concept, we can simply go for our main, like we can say the FMGA, that's what we were discussing, that right from the material modeling to the geometric modeling and then the microstructure modeling. So whenever we are designing that, please remember that all three types of modelings are appropriately required prior to go for additive manufacturing. Because that is not that, you see, we need to model at the micro scale to macro scale to overall material feature. So people are just using, you see, the kind of concept, but we need to work specifically, because the softwares are only telling that, you see, we have these kind of features, but how we can integrate that using the slicing and tool path. This is another part, and then we can simply simulate and we can get those particular parts. So when we are now going for the characterization feature in the functionally graded additive manufacturing, these are the key processing part. So that can be easily, like adapted in that, and that we can simply, like describe that how the variations are there. This, so like using, we can say, the modeling, geometric modeling, material modeling, microstructural modeling design, slicing simulation, and then you see here at the particular home when we are going, we can simply characterize this. The characterization depends on the kind of application. So that can be easily shown there, and then we can get that kind of features there. Excuse me. So when we are now going towards this, you see here, then we have another process of indicating that when we are going for this, towards the design concept of functionally graded, we can say the material, in which whatever the manufacturings are happening towards the gradual transition of geometry. Please remember, gradual transition of geometry, chemical composition, and their constituents or micro part. So you see here, right from the image acquisition to data processing and the CAD, they are all providing, you see here, that how the image segmentation could be easily achieved, because like all these constituents or the microstructures in the layers, they have their own sensitive features towards, you see, all the uniform distribution, their allocation of data, and you see here the material, we can say, distribution towards that. So generally, when we are going towards this side, you can see that how precisely we need to check layer by layer that how the material features are to be graded towards the geometrical attributes. Because this is something which is mainly requiring, you see, right from the latest design to the final representation. So in this part particular, you see, like right from image, we can say acquisition, to we can say the data processing, the post processing particular, or when we are trying to convert CAD model to STL format, and then we are processing, you see here, during that particular, like we can say the image segmentation, we are generally using that. So lots of things are there in that, and we can simply get that what exactly the actual transformation is there, where we can highlight, intensify certain things using different kind of gray pixel, we can say white pixel, or even we can simply show that how the distributions are there of those voxel parts. So generally we have, you see, the various kinds of, you see, like the kind of representation which can be easily adopted towards that. So in this, as I'm continuously saying that the material composition is very important, because this material is distributed as per the geometric modeling, whether it is homogeneous or heterogeneous. So sometimes we are using the Euclidean space of the cubic ones. So sometimes when we are saying, you see here, that they are being, like varying in all, we can say X, Y, and Z towards that, then we need to see that how, you see, they are being a subset of this Euclidean space cube part. Because we know that the distribution of this material, which is mainly by, within the geometry provided, how exactly, you see here, they are confining to the space, the geometric space particular, from the basis space. So at each layer, where we are saying that, like right from material space to the fiber space, and then the fiber bundles are being framing, they need to have, you see, a uniform structure, and across the dimension, and across, we can see, the thickness part. So that's why you see here, when you're looking from this side, you'll find that this variation, not only from that, but along with that, both. We need to control both the sides towards that. So that's why you see here, the material composition and the distribution is very important for that. And when we are doing the material modeling, we need to have appropriate convolution surface based material primitives, because then only, you see here, we can simply use any kind of complex or a normal surface. Okay, because you see that in this particular model or any model, we have all together the different, we can say, like the variations, simple to complex one. So accordingly, we can choose this part. So if you look at this part, you see here, we have a point. So as far as you see the point is concerned, there is no problem. You see here, these features could be easily, or even if we have, you see, the straight line part. So either we are going for the point or any kind of straight line feature, that in the material modeling, these, like we can simply apply the convolution in that particular surface, and then accordingly you see here, like these surfaces could be easily generated. But if we have, you see the splines one, then we need to see that how these surfaces are mainly being varying along with, you see here, these two particular direction or plane, whatever you can say. So we can go even the 2D, or we can go with the 3D part, whatever you see here, that can be easily shown that how the material distribution is mainly there based on the convolution surface, like in that. So this is something you can see that there is this, like the variations are there along with this part. So we can simply go and we can check that. Then you see here another feature which is there, you see about the microstructural attributes. The microstructural attributes are also one of the important part. Again, you see, I am simply talking about the basic. The people are talking generally about 3D printing, blah, blah thing. But here we need to be precisely control the grain size, because that is very sensitive, the grain size. Towards, you see here, this is very sensitive towards the proportional of, we can say, the height of deposition layer. So if we are not able to control properly, then certainly we may have, you see here, some kind of different critical zones of stresses, and then even the thermal gradient can be increases towards that. So somewhere we need to control, you see here, the growth rate of that, because you see here there are phase changes. You see here we may have, you see here, various kind of a particular grain size, the martensite or any kind of things which we have sometimes encountered, you see here, during that process. So that's why you see here, like when we are trying to see that, we need to effectively see that how the variations are there as a function. You can see that both the equiset and we can say the column one. So if we are going for that, we can simply see that how the area fraction along with this is basically being like we can say controlled, and we can get that. So this is something, guys, that like we are basically having both sides, the microstructural attributes, and we can have, you see, the material description part where there are, you see, like we can see the convolution surface based material primitives were there, right from point, straight lines, splines, plane, 2D, 3D, all blah blah things can be easily, we can say, used, and that can be framed out. So this is, like we can say all from like this side, that we can simply go and we can have even different convolutional functional gradient materials are there, right from like their features, that how we can simply show. So it's a long way to show that part, that how basically right from the gaseous phase to liquid phase to solid phase processes are there. Then even we can simply go for different processes, like in this part, whether we have, you see, the direct laser metal deposition or the later metal deposition along with the wire arc. So various, you see, the categories are there, and we are using different manufacturing processes for that. Even sometimes you see here when we are using the powder based fusion. So in this part also, you see here, sometimes we can directly go and select appropriate laser sintering, and then we can simply go for, you see here, the standard triangle language, and then we can convert that. So based on that, what exactly the density feature and spatial features are there to achieve certain specific functionally graded variation, we can adopt the various processes towards that. Even there are, you see, the process which are mainly like coming out from the extrusion, the material extrusion, and then that can be effectively controlled by, you see here, the controller. All 6 degrees controllers are there, like all in 3, we can say, directional feature and 3 rotational feature, and then using that we can simply go along with the specified speed of those flow material using static mixture, and that can be effectively, we can say, using active mixture we can get that. So there are way, like we can say, features through which we can simply use that. Even material jetting is very common part. You might have get all that part you see in the 3D printing. I'm not going into that because they are general processor. Only my focus was there that if we are going for the functionally graded material, then how you see we can simply use the different processes to get that part. So there are various mechanical properties and that can be achieved. So this is all from my side, that the various processes were there, and we can simply get, you see, the kind of various processes in this. And we can simply get this, like the different kind of functionally graded material plate of combination of, we can say, metal to ceramic, metal to metal, ceramic to polymer, or using nano, we can say, the particles reinforcement. So that can be there, you see here, and as some kind of porosity, uniform, non-uniform porosity distribution, some kind of, we can say, like as I was mentioning about the spongy kind of features which we want to add as a damping part, where you see here some kind of radiation, some kind of damping dissipations could be easily, like achieved. So that is there. On the other side, we can provide, you see, some kind of stiffer, tougher, or any harder part there using the compact bones. So, like from that, it is mainly being derived, and this is all from my side. Thank you. Like
this conference will now be recorded.
And this is the formal validatory session of this 5-day online Atal FTP. And I am happy to share that more than 85 participants registered for this, and somehow due to some engagement and network issues or maybe power failure because of technical issues, almost 50 to 60 participants, more than 60 participants have joined all the sessions. So now we are in the end of this FDP, and in this validatory session we have with us chief guest Professor Dr. S.P. Harsha, professor from IIT Roorkee. Namaste sir, and welcome to this validatory session. We have with us guest of honor of this program, Honorable Vice Chancellor, MBM University Jodhpur, Professor Dr. Ajay Kumar Sharma with us. Welcome sir. And we have with us Head of the Department, Professor Dr. S.K. Singh, Mechanical Engineering Department, MBM Engineering College, Jodhpur. So now I formally begin this validatory session, and as Harsha sir is meeting very shortly, sir, to quickly say a few words means to encourage, to appreciate, and to motivate the young researcher, because you are among the top 2% of scientists in declared by the Stanford. So a quick message from your side, sir, to motivate the young researcher.
Thank you, Professor Chaudhary. So again, good evening to the gentlemen. Good evening, Vice Chancellor, sir. Namaste. Good evening, Head of Department Processing. Namaste, and to everyone you see here. It's it's a really wonderful thing that Professor Chaudhary invited me for this. It is my alma mater that MBM is always, you see, flowing with my blood. So if something comes from MBM, I'm amazed to, irrespective of whether it falls in my research domain or not, but I'm always going with this. Second part, you see, the 3D printing. Nowadays, you see here, even in the last pandemic, the 3D printing was really, served its purpose, right from manufacturing a small part of, the face mask, right from that to face, we can say, the features and everything, even in many of the IITs, they designed, you see here, the ventilators, and you delivered that. So 3D printing for all complex mechanical structures having different typical properties for nowadays when we are going for supercritical features of boilers to turbo machinery to having effective control on even microstructural part. So from entire range, ballistic missiles like you see in ISRO or like in DRDO, they are developing everywhere. This 3D printing and the smart structure are of the great combination. Again, I would say that please apply those concepts in the real manufacturing, and then we can add, you see, lots of physical and mechanical properties to enhance various things. So it's a really wonderful topic. I really encourage all the participants and the organizers to do such kind of things, to research. You see, you apply your concept right from physics, chemical, mechanical, everything you see here, and you can get those things. My warm welcome, and my we can say best wishes to everyone to apply this concept for their research part. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your message to young researchers. Now I would like to invite guest of honor of this function, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Dr. Ajay Kumar Sharma, to have a quick message to all of us young faculty members. We have with us PhD scholars, we have with us PG students, master students with us. So as a head of institution, as a head of university, sir, please guide us on activities like this we are conducting.
Thank you, Dr. Chaudhary. Good evening to one and all. I would like to say our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Trivedi ji, who is not present right now, Dr. Sunil Sharma ji, Dean Engineering Faculty, Dr. S.K. Singh ji, HOD Mechanical, and the main pillar of this FDP program, Dr. Kailash Chaudhary ji, and our chief guest, Professor Harsha ji. I would like to congratulate you, sir, for the achievement what you have got today. That is a
Thank you.
very good thing that we are with you with this, you can say, achievement, great achievement from India itself, because it is international, on the international part. And one of my friend, Dr. N.S. Pamar, Narayan Pamar, is also in the list, and definitely I do understand how much input one has to put in this to come at this level. And all dear participants, it's really a great pleasure for me to join you in this program as in the validatory of this one. And definitely we will congratulate, thank you to AICT for sponsoring this 3D printing basics FDP program. And though this is an online one, and we should all pray to God that next time when this any program is there, we should go offline. That would be great meeting is one-to-one, and definitely offline programs will have a upper hand over the online programs. But anyway, I think our team must have put a lot of input in this, and definitely all participants must have gained in this emerging field, which is getting attention nowadays. And definitely 3D printing will result in getting manufacturing of more complicated systems. And especially we can go for the small models, which are very useful for the students, that too with the working models. I do have prepared some models with this 3D printing for agricultural machines, and definitely their working models are very useful for explaining to students as well as to the farmers or anyone who wants to know the working mechanism or for that. So it's a great opportunity for me to interact with you in this closing event of this program. And I would just congratulate our organizers, and would expect them just to come with more programs with AICT like that, and that too at national level. And I would like to invite all the participants next time if it goes offline in this program. And definitely Dr. Harsha will be, as an alumni of MBM, he will be definitely visiting Jodhpur in that, and it will be our pleasure to welcome him and all other alumni of MBM, and all other participants around the world. And I was going through the speakers, so throughout India, right from Delhi to East Guwahati. So Dr. Chaudhary has made efforts for getting experts throughout India and the benefit of participants. And AICT is taking very good efforts in this promoting education in this area, and giving us opportunities to all over India to go with this FDP programs under the Atal scenario. And once again, I would like to welcome Dr. Harsha and all other participants, and hope they must have learned a lot from this program. And even I would like to appreciate Dr. Kailash Chaudhary for his efforts. And I wish you all good luck. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for your motivational message. And I'm very much sure that this will further motivate us to conduct such more programs in future. Now, I will quickly take up feedback of few of the participants. If they can share their feedback, any suggestion for this program, they are welcome. Any participant who wish to share opinion, feedback on this program?
Dr. Kailashi,
Very good evening, sir.
Yes, Mr. Manoj Gupta, yes, please. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, Vice Chancellor, sir. Good afternoon, Dr. Harsha. Sir, thanks for very wonderful FDP. Actually, I am just starting my work in this area, and I would like to say that this was a great FDP. Speakers from all IITs, NITs, and reputed universities were there. And I will say they enlightened us on not only what are the opportunities, but also what are the challenges and what are the prospects for future researchers in this area. So in my opinion, it was a very well organized FDP, and definitely it enhanced our knowledge in this area.
Thank you, Gupta ji. Thank you. Any other participant?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Lalit.
Good evening, sir. Sir, I am myself Lalit Jani, and I am the attendee of this workshop. I attended all the session of the workshop, and I am very thankful to our HOD sir, SK Singh sir of Mechanical Engineering Department, MBM Engineering College, and our coordinator sir, Kailash sir, who organized this workshop. I am also thankful to our Vice Chancellor sir and our guest SP Harsha sir for organizing such for giving such a wonderful lectures. And when I attended all the sessions, many experts were from industry, and some experts were from IITs, NITs, and even from private institutions. So they gave a immense knowledge to us, and in future also we expect such a workshop. If it would be organized, then it would be really helpful to all the research scholars and even to faculties. So I would again thankful to all the dignitaries and all the professors from IITs and from NITs and even from government engineering colleges who gave a wonderful lectures, and they really helped us to gain or to enhance our knowledge in the field of 3D printing and its application. And even the lecture of SP Harsha sir on the functional graded material was also a great lecture, and we really gained from this lecture. Thank you to all.
Thank you, Lalit. Kaushik sir, would you like to share your opinion now?
Yes, sir.
Senior faculty member Kaushik sir is with us.
Yes, sir.
Namaste, sir.
Sir, I am also the alumni of your college, sir.
Oh, right, sir. Where are you right now, sir? Where are you working?
Sir, I am working in Sri Digambar Institute of Technology, Dosa. And basically, I was in force. From there, from your institute, I did my ME from 95 to 97.
Great, sir. Great.
So this was a fantastic moment for me, sir, while talking the members of the institute college. And I think it was a tremendous workshop, or I learned a lot from this. Earlier, I used to think, being in Air Force as a maintenance engineer, how these manufacturers are making such a complicated parts. I think they are using this technology only. Because there are some castings which are very difficult to cast with conventional methods. So it was an eye-opener for me, and I wanted to talk you earlier also, but because session was going on, so I did not want to disturb you. Anyhow, sir, it was a fantastic moment for me. I enjoyed this workshop. Thank you.
Thank you for appreciation, sir. Thank you. Anyone else?
Yes, sir. Myself, Motilal.
Yes, sir. Motilal ji, please.
Sir. I am indeed very honored and feel very good to attending the course FDP. The first and foremost, I thank to esteemed Institute MBM and also Dr. Kailash Chaudhary sir for conducting this FDP, which is very useful and essential for our faculty members like that. Myself, FDP structure very well, week wise. Very week is excited experience for me. My journey for the last 5 days was very useful. Whether it was a hectic schedule for me, I thoroughly enjoyed my doing the assignment also and the question. As the participant, I realized that work schedule was very designed for the preparing one to become more focused and oriented toward the student learning aspects and outcome wise. as well the faculty members. Also, FDP program would definitely enhance the skill of the handling cases in the FDP material manufacturing, also the 3D printing to student as well to the faculty members in the very well abstract manner. Also initiated involving the students and should be in such a program. So much need to honor. Resources creation assignment and also this type of the assignment also helpful to the everyone. So much thank you, Chaudhary sir. Again.
Thank you, Motilal ji. Any other participant?
A very
Yes,
good evening, sir.
I am from Institute of Chemical Technology. Can you able
Yes,
to
Dr.
hear me,
Vishwas.
sir? Can you able to hear me?
Yes, Dr. Vishwas. Go ahead.
Yes. First of all, thank you to all the dignitaries present here today. Also, thank you to Kailash Chaudhary sir for organizing this fantastic FDP program. I have enjoyed my 5 days learning with all of you. And here in Institute also, we have the 3D printing technology, 3D printing machinery, with which I would also like to collaborate with most of the speakers and their laboratories where they are carrying out their research work. So our research students can also join their laboratory and take their expertise in their project work and also develop new products and using new materials. This FDP program has helped me in learning many of the things, and the sequence of learning which was designed by Dr. Kailash is fantastic, and there are many aspects in 3D printing, and every aspect was taken individually and were very clear explained and made us learn by all the speakers. So this is which I want to convey to all of you, and special thanks to Kailash sir for keeping us updated through WhatsApp, email, everything. So it was very nice mode of communication which you have made it easier also.
But I did
Thank
not
you.
allow anyone to put any comment in WhatsApp group. It was a one-side communication because I didn't want to create any confusion. So straightforward, I was writing the instructions, and I hope you won't mind it.
No problem. It was fantastically organized, sir.
We'll be in touch. We will touch, Dr.
Yes.
Vishwas. Thank you for joining.
Definitely, sir. Thank you to all the members.
Thank you. Any other participant?
Very good evening, sir.
Yes, Mr. Parth.
Yes, sir. Myself, Parth Patpatia from Banasthali Vidyapeeth, sir. I would express my hearty gratitude to the MEM University for conducting this faculty development program on 3D printing basics and application, and providing me the opportunity to be a part of this program. We have been fortunate to have renowned identity from academics, industry, and other areas of additive manufacturing. Sir, I would also like to express my gratitude to all the eminent speakers for taking out time from their busy schedules and sharing their graceful words on the 3D printing basics and their application. Sir, the FDP was very well planned and scheduled with the inaugural sessions, lecture sessions, feedback, interactive sessions with the participant remarks, and valedictory session. And it all started with the inaugural session with Mr. Prashant Javkar, sir, business manager, Ford Motor Company. And at the last but not the least, I would like to thank you, sir, for taking so much effort for organizing this 1 week FDP and making this a huge success. And thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Parth. Thank you. Any other participant? Faculty member from other institute, PhD scholar or PG student? Okay, so as I communicated earlier, AICT will take a test today at 7 p.m. for which I will share link with all the participants, and the exit test for this particular FDP I will take tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. So for that also I will share link with you all in WhatsApp group and through email. Now I guess we can conclude, and for vote of thanks, I would like to invite Head of the Department, Mechanical Engineering, MEM Engineering College, Professor Dr. S.K. Singh, sir.
Good afternoon to all of you. Am I audible, Kailash?
Yes, sir. Please.
Good afternoon to all of you. I welcome all the participants from all over India to MEM Engineering College for this Atal FDP course. I welcome Professor Harsha sir to consented to be a chief guest. I welcome our VC sir, Professor Ajay Kumar Sharma, to be guest of honor, to be consented to be guest of honor. So, Department of Mechanical Engineering is actively involved in organizing the workshops and FDP programs in the past also. Last year, we have already successfully conducted 2 Atal FDP programs. This year also, we were approved 2 programs. One has already been conducted successfully in the month of August. Now, today we are again on the verge of completion of this second Atal FDP program on the 3D printing. The various speakers from different institutions, including IITs, NITs, other industries and industry, have consented to be speaker and deliver the lectures here, and that were very informative from last 5 days. That is reflected in the words of the participants who already given their feedbacks on this. I'm very thankful to Dr. S.P. Harsha, Professor S.P. Harsha, Professor in IIT Roorkee, who gave his wonderful lecture in the last session and consented to be the chief guest of this valedictory function. So in the past also he is very kind enough us for consenting to the lectures in other programs also. So he is always, because he is the alumnus of MEM Engineering College also, and he is always with us in any academic matters. So thanks to him. I am also thankful to our Vice Chancellor, Professor Sharma sir, for giving his valuable time to be the guest of honor in this valedictory function. I'm thankful to AICT for approving our this FDP Atal FDP programs and financing us so that we can arrange all the speakers and other small things. The point given by Professor Sharma sir, that is well taken. Now pandemic is if it is all over, so next we will try to formulate all the programs in the physical mode. In physical mode, at least the interaction is a little bit more closer. Here we are interacting, and in the future also, this is the journey. This is the starting of the interaction and binding with all of you participants. We'll keep this binding in future also in terms of academic interactions, in terms of collaborations of the research. So don't worry, we will send all the updates regarding any such academic activities to you. There is no doubt about it. So thanks all the participants who have attending this program from all over India. Kailash, there was a difficulty in last 3 days because there was a net closure for. Is there any difficulty? There was.
No such difficulty because we have our own internet service, so no problem.
Okay. That was a difficulty with the mobile data.
Yes, most of the participants joined that session, no problem.
So thanks to all of you. Thank you, VC sir. Thanks all.